This story is very true, believe it or not, I don't really care. I was maybe 11 or 12, I don't really remember, but it was the span of years 2017 to 2018. I lived near an old abandoned house that looked years old. My sister and I decided to go in thinking it was empty. Oh, how we were wrong. The door to the house didn't even close, so anyone and anything seeking shelter had access to the house. We walked in and to the right was the living room. There was a huge pile of dirt, trash, roof insulation, etc. in the center, but on top sat a Bojangles box. I live in the South and I don't know if Bojangles is a northern thing, but it's a restaurant that sells southern-style fried chicken, and it looked to be brand new. It was torn or discolored either. My sister had said there could have been someone here at some point very recently. To the left when you walk in the front door was the master bedroom, and in the closet there were clothes. They looked to be clothes from the 1900s because they looked very old. Scattered around the room were pictures. Many, many pictures. It seemed an African-American family lived there, but all the pictures were super old. Newest ones was only early 2000s quality. Down the hallway there is another room with a bathroom next to it, and at the back of the house to the right was the kitchen. The kitchen was fairly large considering the house was very quaint. I took a few steps into the kitchen and I wished I had noticed the flooring was very soft, but when I took one more step I fell through the floor into the basement. I heard my sister scream, but I wasn't paying attention to her. My ankle hurt, not broken bone hurt. But more, I just fell like 6 feet and I'm maybe 5 feet tall. The only light coming into the basement was from the hole in the ceiling/floor. I wish I could say it ended there, but as I tried to find a way out I heard a laugh. It wasn't a creepy clown laugh, but more like a smoker about to hack up a long cough. I guess my sister saw them because she screamed for me to run. Being absolutely terrified, I booked it to the stairs. One of the board cracked on the way up, causing me to almost fall down. I gained my balance and got to the top, screaming to let me out. The door was locked. The person never pursued me up the stairs or chased me, as my sister had watched them the entire time. They never moved. I got out of the basement and we left and never went back. I don't know what the house looks like now because I've moved houses since then, but yeah.
So, this is my first time posting, mainly because I haven't had an experience worth writing about until today. To begin, I live in a small town in Tennessee, and I live far back in the woods, on top of a mountain. I have some neighbors, but not walking distance away. Across my driveway is a road that leads to a TVA that is usually pretty busy this time of year, but with the whole coronavirus business no one has really been around. Anyway, around 2 weeks or so ago, I noticed a car on that road, pulled off to the side of the road, abandoned. I didn't really think anything of it at first, I just thought it was a pretty weird spot for someone to leave their car, but other than that I didn't think twice about it. Today, however, was different. I was on my usual morning walk down my driveway, which is about half a mile long, and I normally don't walk all the way down, because I don't want to get too close to the road and run into any creeps. I should note that I am a 20-year-old female, only 5 feet 7 inches and around 120 pounds, and I have asthma. Today I decided I would walk all the way to the mailbox and grab the mail, for a little extra time outside since I have been cooped up inside for a week or so. I wish I hadn't. It was a pretty normal walk at first, I was jogging most of the way, and when I stopped to catch my breath and continue walking the rest of the way, I noticed the car still sitting across from my driveway, and I also noticed something moving next to it. I stopped to try to see what it was, but I couldn't see very well since I was still pretty far away and could only look through openings in the trees. So, I continued down, and when I got to my mailbox, I noticed a man, just standing next to the car. I figured it was the owner of the car and didn't think much of it, until I noticed he wasn't doing anything, just staring right at me. I froze for a second, and did a small wave with my fingers, and forced a fake smile out, in hopes he would wave back and continue whatever he was doing, but he just stared. At this point I was really freaked out, and as soon as I turned my back to him, I heard the sound of feet stepping on leaves behind me, so I started to run back up my driveway. As I was running, I could hear shuffling in the bushes behind me, and what sounded like footsteps just a few feet behind me. I didn't know what to do other than run. I had my phone on me, sure, but no one would be able to make it to me in time, but I knew my dogs and my boyfriend were just up the driveway in my house, so if I could just outrun this guy, I would be safe. I continued to hear the footsteps until about halfway up my driveway, and then they just stopped. I stopped behind a tree, to catch my breath, and looked through a clearing in the trees, to see the man turned around, tiptoeing back to the car. I am still pretty freaked out by the whole thing, and since this just happened today I have not seen the man again. I plan to do my usual walk still tomorrow, but will bring my boyfriend with me this time. Hopefully this was just a misunderstanding, although I don't think it was. I've been living in the same house for 10 years, and over that span of time occasionally weird things happen. However, recently things have gotten very strange. My first weird encounter in the house was when I was about 12. I had been a very shy, quirky kid who liked to be left alone, so I spent most of my time sleeping and listening to music in my room. This particular day my nap stretched on too long and I slept through dinner. But because it was a nap I woke up around 4 a.m. I woke up with a weird feeling, like a prickly, uncomfortable feeling. It's hard to explain. I sat up in bed and started to look around. But all of a sudden, I got shoved over and felt like I was being held down and I couldn't move my arms. I felt something go between my legs, and when I cried out for it to stop, it went away. Nothing happened again for another year or so. When I was 13, I was home alone and the lights went out. I've always been the fearless type, so I got up and headed straight for the power box. The power box is located directly in front of my walk-in closet connected to my hallway. As I went to flip some of the switches, I stopped before I reached the box and looked into my closet. Have you ever looked into a dark area and seen like something move through it? Like something blacker than all the darkness stands out and you can just feel it? That's exactly how I felt. I don't easily get scared, but for some reason all my instincts told me get out. So, I told my mom I was sleeping over at a friend's. I locked up the house and walked over to my friend's house and stayed the night with her. I'm 15 now, and some really strange things have started happening. I'll go to turn on a certain light in the house and it won't turn on, or if it does turn on it flickers. However, my mom could turn on the same light and it would be completely normal. On top of that, my animals have been acting strangely around me. My dog has always hated me, biting at me, not listening to what I ask. But recently, she's been submissive around me, and not like she's finally wanting to open up to me. It's more like she's afraid of what I might do to her. I have never abused her or hit her in her life, so there's not a single reason for her to act like this. Mind you, she's a big dog, 75 pounds, and if she was standing on her back paws she would be about 4 feet 5 inches. My cat on the other hand has started watching me from certain parts of the house. Just today she went under my bed and 5 minutes later she flew out from under my bed, digging her claws in my arm, desperately trying to get out from under my bed. When I finally scooped her up and was holding her, I noticed her fur was sticking up in all directions and that she was shaking. I held her and asked her what the hell happened, and she made eye contact with me. As soon as she made eye contact with me, however, she violently jumped out of my arms and ran out of my room. I was sitting there so confused. I have also been getting pains in my lower back and hip area, and I stopped growing since middle school, seeing as I'm a girl and I started my growth spurt earlier. The reason I'm writing this is because I have no idea what's going on. This just happened today and has been occurring for the past month, so any comments or suggestions to help me feel less crazy will help.
It was a dark, December evening, winter break from school. My then girlfriend Liz and I were cuddled up on the couch watching Christmas movies on Netflix with my 2 young nephews, 5 years and 10 months at the time. My mother was at work and my girlfriend's mom was running errands. My little sister was at an after-school center across the street from our house. The movie, I think was Elf, was still playing. I was getting really bored from it and got up to get a drink. Before I could open the refrigerator, the doorbell rang. I walked into the living room and looked through the peephole on the front door. I saw a man, about mid-50s, African-American, and dressed in a dark brown winter coat. I asked who he was. "It's Vince from down the street. Can I come in?" I opened the door. Luckily, our screen door was locked so he couldn't get in. "My mom isn't here." "What do you need?" I asked as politely as I could. "Your mom wanted me to clean the gutters. She promised to pay me. Can I come in?" I shook my head. Why would my mom want a man to clean the gutters when she has me? More so, why would she want him to do it at a time like this? It looks like it's past 9 when in reality, it was around 5:30 p.m. "My mom isn't home. She'll be back later," I said. The man groaned lightly in irritation. "Well, can you call her?" "Sorry, my phone is dead," I lied. He nodded without another word and turned to leave. I closed the door and sat back down. Not 2 minutes later, another knock was on the door. I went to look through the peephole and was unable to see anybody. "Who is it?" I called out. "It's me," my little sister said. The program must have been over. I opened the door and almost jumped out of my skin. The man was right behind my sister. I quickly unlocked the screen door and hurried my sister in. He tried to get in, but I shut and locked both doors. I asked her if she was okay. "Yeah, but that man keeps asking where Mom is." I felt my stomach drop. Why is this guy so persistent? My sister started to call my mom to tell her, but then the lights shut off. It made us all let out a surprised noise. Also freaked us out more than before. Her phone then died as soon as she pressed the call button. Weird, since her battery wasn't even close to dying. Not long after, the movie was over and my oldest nephew was asleep. I was trying to get the baby boy to sleep when my girlfriend's mom came through the door. She looked weirded out. "Ma, what's wrong?" Liz asked. "That man tried to get in the car with me." Hearing that, my heart nearly stopped. I gave my nephew to my girlfriend and looked out the window. He was standing by our mailbox, waiting. He was looking dead at me. At this point, I bet you're guessing I called the police? No, I didn't. I just stared at him. This next part haunts my nightmares today. He gave me a wide, open-mouthed grin and widened his eyes. I never told my girlfriend this because I didn't want to scare her. My breathing was heavy at this point. He then turned around slowly and walked down the street. I never heard from him again. To most, that doesn't seem scary at all. I bet if a man you never seen knocks on your door and tries to come in asking countless times for your mother on a freezing December night, you'll be scared shitless. I told my mom about the man when she got home and she looked at me crazy. I don't know a Vince from around here.